The idea of an over-the-counter anti-aging pill has long captivated the public imagination. Now, thanks to groundbreaking work in cellular senescence, that dream is inching closer to reality. Senolytics, compounds that selectively eliminate damaged, zombie cells from the body, are no longer just the subject of academic interest or elite lab research. The promise they hold for reducing chronic inflammation, restoring tissue function, and potentially extending health span has drawn the attention of pharmaceutical companies, biotech startups, and supplement manufacturers alike. But how close are we, really, to walking into a pharmacy and picking up a senolytic treatment off the shelf? The road to an OTC, over-the-counter, senolytic is complex and still under construction, but it is not purely hypothetical. Several natural compounds with senolytic potential, such as physidin, quercetin, and O-vanillin, are already available in health stores as dietary supplements. Yet their availability should not be confused with regulatory approval or proven efficacy in humans for aging-related diseases. What's emerging now is a tension between scientific potential, regulatory oversight, commercial interests, and the desire for mass-market access. Scientifically, the foundation for senolytics is robust. In animal models, these therapies have demonstrated remarkable effects, reducing frailty, improving cardiovascular function, enhancing muscle regeneration, delaying neurodegeneration, and even extending median lifespan. The basic mechanism, removing senescent cells that drive inflammation and tissue dysfunction, makes intuitive sense. Unlike traditional anti-inflammatory drugs that only blunt symptoms, senolytics target the root, dysfunctional cells that actively degrade the surrounding tissue environment through their senescence-associated secretory phenotype, SASP. From a translational standpoint, several early human trials have already begun. A combination of dasatinib, a leukemia drug, and quercetin was shown in small studies to reduce senescence markers and improve walking speed and physical function in patients with idiopathic pulmonary fibrosis and diabetic kidney disease. Physidin, another natural flavonoid with potent senolytic effects in mice, is currently in trials for conditions ranging from frailty to cognitive decline. The fact that these drugs work intermittently, only needing to be taken once every few weeks, adds to their appeal for chronic disease prevention and public use. However, despite the progress, a major divide exists between scientific promise and mass market access. Safety and specificity remain the biggest hurdles. Some senolytics like dasatinib can have off-target effects, suppress healthy immune cells, or stress organs like the liver. Even natural compounds like quercetin can interact with medications or exhibit hormetic effects, being beneficial at low doses, but potentially harmful at higher ones. For regulatory agencies like the FDA, any compound intended to alter fundamental cellular processes must undergo rigorous, long-term safety testing, especially if marketed for healthy people. Another challenge is the lack of clear biomarkers to identify who would benefit most from senolytics. Not all aging tissues are senescent, and indiscriminate removal of these cells could potentially impair healing or immune surveillance. The field still lacks a standardized way to measure senescence burden in real time, making population-level prescriptions risky without better diagnostics. That said, the regulatory landscape is evolving, especially around aging as a legitimate therapeutic target. In the past, the FDA did not recognize aging as an indication for drug approval. That's changing, driven by advocacy and research from groups like the American Federation for Aging Research, AFAR, and efforts like the TAME trial targeting aging with metformin. If aging can be reframed as a modifiable risk factor for multiple diseases, then senolytics may find approval not as anti-aging pills per se, but as multi-disease modifiers, drugs that reduce risk for arthritis, frailty, cardiovascular disease, and dementia simultaneously. On the commercial front, companies are moving fast. Unity Biotechnology, once focused on osteoarthritis, pivoted toward eye diseases after mixed trial results. Other companies like Ocean Biotechnologies, Clera Biotech, and Rubito Life Sciences are racing to develop more targeted senolytics using nanoparticle delivery, prodrug strategies, or gene expression signatures to ensure they only activate in diseased tissues. Meanwhile, a parallel market is thriving in supplements, often based on preclinical data, with limited human proof, but high consumer demand. It's here that consumer education becomes critical. The term senolytic is being used liberally, even when the evidence is preliminary. Many over-the-counter products claim senolytic effects based on cell culture or mouse studies, but dosages, bioavailability, and human impact remain poorly understood. Without regulatory oversight, consumers face a wild west of self-experimentation, potentially wasting money or, worse, interfering with other therapies. Still, the future isn't bleak. A likely scenario in the next 5 to 10 years is the emergence of clinically validated, prescription-based senolytic regimens tailored to specific conditions like osteoarthritis, chronic pain, or frailty, possibly coupled with diagnostic tools to assess senescence burden. Over time, safer, milder senolytic agents, especially those derived from food-grade polyphenol, may earn OTC status, especially if they show minimal side effects in long-term studies. In the meantime, interest in senolytics may push the broader field of longevity research into mainstream medicine. Already, consumers are becoming more aware of the links between cellular health, inflammation, and functional aging, even if senolytics themselves aren't fully ready for prime time. While the dream of an anti-aging pill you can grab at the drugstore isn't here yet, the momentum is undeniable, and senolytics may well be the vanguard of the next generation of preventive medicine. In conclusion, senolytics for the masses is no longer science fiction, but it's also not just a matter of bottling a few plant extracts and calling it a cure. Scientific rigor, regulatory clarity, and ethical commercialization will determine whether this promising therapy becomes a true breakthrough or just another fad. Still, for anyone watching the frontiers of aging and chronic disease treatment, senolytics represent one of the most exciting and potentially transformative developments of our time.